What's up, everybody? This is Rocco Pablo with a live case study. Today, we'll be talking about the death of Autotune and how it really impacted the new artist that was coming out. Alright? So, for people who don't know, from the hip hop culture, the death of Autotune basically came about when people in the mainstream, old school artists, again, like always, when music is changing, and artists don't want to change up with the music, they will band together to start something of a campaign to stop certain things, okay? Now, so during that time, you had T-Pain come out. Well, first, the person that really started it was Akon, because other than Akon, no one else was getting that many features just for singing hooks, but wasn't like an R&B singer, okay? So during that time, we had artists like Trey Songz and Chris Brown, but they were pure singers. When I say pure singers, I mean they didn't need Autotune. They just used, there's nothing wrong with Autotune. They just didn't need their voice auto-corrected. They didn't need to do extra things for their voice to sound cool for the song. But Akon, T-Pain came out, changed the game, because these guys were like one-man Bone Thugs and Harmony. Best way to describe them. They had harmony. They were able to talk about any topic. But the Autotune was turned up to the point that you just liked it. You get what I'm saying? It was tuned right. So Wayne started using it heavily on his songs when he was doing songs that needed melody. Okay, so fast forward a couple years, Future comes out. Future's the king of Autotune when it comes to making all his music, right? The problem came when Jay-Z came out with a song called Death of Autotune. Okay? Because, first of all, remember I told y'all the only two people that was using Autotune at first was Akon and T-Pain. Now Lil Wayne. Now, the problem is, an artist like Jay-Z campaigning against artists using Autotune is not a good thing, because if a elder does not support what a new guy's doing, sometimes the whole group will shun him, will shun the new guy, will shut him down, will stop it, because they're afraid of losing influence from the elder. Okay? We call them the gatekeepers of hip-hop. People who, if you get a feature from, it's amazing. People, when they drop albums, regardless if it's good or not, it's like the whole world stands still. And if you're a new artist coming out, you gotta have heard that. Especially if you're in the industry. Some artists are expected to know and to have listened to a certain artist's music when they come out. You'll see them on their page promoting it or talking about how, yeah, that new 44 album came out, that new Nas album came out, that new, and you in your head, like, that has nothing to do with your music. And if that's the case, if you listen to these artists, why do you sound like this, right? That's because they're not influenced by them. Because them same artists who saying, oh yeah, I just checked out the new Jay-Z project, that boy a GOAT, that man a legend, and da-da-da-da. When you ask them in an interview who their influences is, who they gonna say? Lil Wayne, Chief Keef, and whoever else. You feel what I'm saying? Exactly. So, back on topic to the death of Autotune. Around 2010, around the 2010s, Autotune started picking up with artists in the indie scene. You have Roscoe Dash, among other artists, but I'm just going to talk about the main. Roscoe Dash, Shy Glizzy, Speaker Knockers, and Shy Glizzy, Speaker Knockers. I said Roscoe Dash. Crap. The other one that come to me. Alright. So, I feel like when that Def Autotune came out, it was meant to hurt the progress of music changing because some artists in the industry didn't want to make that change or wasn't ready for it. Okay? So you had these new artists that come out that are using Autotune, but in my opinion, they're doing very well with it and they're making great sound. So, Roscoe Dash blows up, eventually drops a song with Waka Flocka and Wale called No Hands. Now, I'm not aware of the dates and stuff, because this is just an off the top of my head conversation, so I'm not specific on the details, but I do recall that No Hands song coming out around the time that Death of Autotune song came out. Almost around the time when Wayne actually dropped his remix to Death of Autotune. Yeah, Wayne actually responded to Death of Autotune by jumping on it, because in the Death of Autotune, Jay-Z actually said to Wayne, he actually said in his verse, I should send this to the mixtape Weezy. Almost like saying that this new mainstream Weezy was too soft because he was using too much Autotune. That's what I took from it. So, Roscoe Dash drops No Hands, and I guess his project comes after that. Problem was, we didn't hear nothing from Roscoe Dash after that. That's a problem. Roscoe Dash is an awesome artist. He has amazing sound, and I don't see why, he didn't blow up. So, we're going to skip a couple years to Speaker Knockers. Speaker Knockers comes out, has the same run. Only problem is, hello.
Hey, you got to take a minute.
Only problem is, when he came out, I believe that this was during the time that people were doing lean and pills. Now, the problem is, he was still a child. I think he was nowhere past like 18. So he was still a child. So he was on his own, like most of them do when they blow up. Most of these young artists, when they blow up, they start living lives. They start living their life out of hotels. Okay? So you always seen him in a new hotel, or in a hotel period, in every video, right? So Speaker Knockers was piggybacking off the same sound that was created before him. Okay? Problem was, I think the industry already killed that sound. And what I mean by that is, remember the Death of Autotune, when that came out, we know that it hurt artists because when we said Roscoe Dash had a project that came out around that time after a hit song. He had a hit song already. That girl, that was a hit song. The funny thing about it is, this is how you know that song was a hit, right? Sometimes what artists do, if I do a feature with an artist and I love my flow on there, or I love the sound that they helped me get, I might use that sound or that flow on another song. You feel what I'm saying? Like, flows are like clothes. I don't care how much money you have. If you find something nice, you're not gonna want to. You're not gonna want to throw away afterwards, or you're gonna want to wear it again. Okay. So let's put this right here. So the reason why I know No Hands was a hit, because Waka Flocka, one of the features on there, dropped a song. Waka Flocka dropped a song called Round of Applause. I know y'all probably saying, well, round of applause. Okay, why does that matter? Because the hook is exactly like No Hands. I swear it's just like No Hands. Round of applause, baby, make that ass clap. I don't know if y'all heard, that was the hi-hat. And that song was on Waka's new project, and that shit did amazing. You know what I think happened? I think they did not expect Roscoe Dash to blow up. They didn't think he was gonna make it that far. They thought they could cap his mainstream success. The problem is, if you check that Piff, which was our SoundCloud back in the day, he was dropping mixtape after mixtape after mixtape after mixtape. One of his projects he dropped, he got almost 50-something songs on it. I lied to you now. I almost didn't want to download the project, but the songs were so good that I did. You feel what I'm saying? I know he probably got signed. I know he got signed to a label because he had to have a distribution deal. He had to have a distribution deal. You can tell because his music started dwindling. It started dwindling after that. You get what I'm saying? Like, I understand his music when it started off, it sounded kind of like childish and the beats all sounded the same. They all sounded hype. But what's wrong with that? Lil Pump came out, started off with slow hype beats, and then his beats got faster but stayed hype. So I don't understand. There was no problem there. You know where the problem began? When the industry realized they can pick and choose who we like by influencing who we see and influencing how we see them. Basically, some of your favorite artists are still making music. You just don't know about it because the platforms you're on aren't pushing them in your face, aren't making it easier as they're making everybody else accessible. What I mean by that is, if Meek Mill drops a new project, you're going to see it on all your platforms. It's Drake, Lil Uzi. If anybody drops a new project that's a big artist right now, you're going to see it at least on 3 or 4 platforms promoted to you. Now, even if they're not promoted to you on the main page, you're going to be able to find it easily because they want you to. The new Nas album, King's Disease, you know how long it took me to find that? The new Lox album, Living Off Experience. You know how long it took me to find that? The video, which is the only video they have for the project with DMX, that took me forever to find. And you know what's funny? You know what YouTube had a nerve to suggest to me after that? Fucking Going Bad with Drake and Meek Mill. Get the fuck out of my face. Alright. So, to the next person. With Speaker Knockers, the reason why I feel like that death of Autotune affected him to even all those years after that is because look at how much potential this boy had. Now people saying, well, you'll never know how much potential, you never know what he could have done because he passed away. Nigga, first of all, it's kind of whack that people say, well, we'll never know how big, or we'll never know their potential because they passed away. Nigga, them passing away don't have nothing to do with leading up to their passing. Leading up to his passing, he took a break from music for a while. A lot of people don't know. He took a break from music, dropped the music. That's why I noticed his music slowed down. You know what I'm saying? First of all, he's always a single guy anyway. You know what I'm saying? Dropping singles and do individual numbers and give him time to work on projects. But if you think about it, freak, you losing up. Alright. Oh, okay. So he switched to making beats. Now a lot of y'all don't know most of those beats that you hear that he jumped on. If you hear, it's the speaker now. That's his tag. He's the dude. Okay? A lot of y'all don't know. Speaker knockers started selling beats on SoundClick. That's the website. He started selling beats on SoundClick, just like Soulja Boy, and he actually started getting his beats bought by people, by artists, and then it got to the point where big artists started, getting beats from him. The problem was, this is where I think the problem came. The problem was, for me, in my eyes, why were the only people to drop their songs or to release songs using his beats with the tag on it was Young Dolph and Gucci Mane and Young Scooter, Lil Scooter. Yeah, Young Scooter. What was going on with the industry, and why was the industry black? But well, first of all, we already know that during that time, Young Dolph and Gucci Mane were still being blackballed from the industry. In my eyes, including Young Scooter. I feel like all three of them were being blackballed from the industry. Oh my god, I gotta add more. Including Rocco and Future. During that time, all of them were being like the I call it the Savages of Atlanta. They were kind of like the stars, the uncrowned champions of Atlanta that never got their that wasn't getting their just dues. Even now, regardless of if people just started being able to understand Future, people can never take away Future's work ethic, the music, the amount of music he was putting out. Alright, even taking it back to Monster. Okay, I didn't listen to Monster during the hype, but I listened to it later on in the future after I actually started, bumping Future on my own. After hearing the Extraterrestrial mixtape with DJ Esco. So, side note, for a lot of y'all Future fans who don't know, the reason why it seemed like during that time, during that time, it seemed like Future wasn't dropping a lot of music and he was doing more features. That's because he was supposed to drop a couple projects, but him and DJ Esco, a producer, were in another country and something happened. They were arrested or they were detained. But the whole point was they took the laptop that had all the music on there. That's another thing I'm going to talk about in another case study about how when you start becoming a big artist and you have influential music that may or may have people thinking the right way, you'll start being targeted by people. And the main thing they're going to try to do, anybody that's going to try to stop you as an artist, they know that you need that hard drive. Y'all need to stop uploading all your masters, all your hard stuff on your hard drive. You know why? I've dealt with artists. 35% of my artists that I used to deal with were artists that couldn't even do new music because they had to take time to try to remember all these old songs to redo them because the music that they had got lost in the studio, got lost on the hard drive or whatever like that. Y'all producers need to step it up. Whenever I do songs with people, they get the verses, they get the ad libs, they get the unfinished draft. Like, come on now. Come on now. Y'all supposed to always keep that shit on the cloud. That's important stuff. That's somebody else's information. Okay? But back to the auto-tune thing. So people have to realize when the industry makes, almost like when they vote. When they vote on something, regardless of everybody likes it or not, that's what it is. It's law. It's put into law. Because, like I told you, them gatekeepers, they're gatekeepers for a reason. They're what we call in the industry, they're draws. Okay? We know that if Jay-Z drop an album, he's going to draw this amount. He's going to draw this. He's going to draw this age. We know that if we put these two artists on a track, they're going to draw. Not because of anything other than their fan base. So, what happens when you can control people and how their fan base sees them? You control the world. Because no matter what an artist does, at any time, the fans will leave because some fans don't have a strong attention span to do too much research. So sometimes whatever they say, that's what it is. And you gotta rock with it, for real. Or you can build your own, start from the bottom, you know, get your music to a point where you're at least getting 100,000 views on what up, bro? On everything.
Yeah.